Hi, I'm Wulf. This is my OMG interview. 2 weeks ago I had my Black Ice exhibition in the Art Society in Port of Spain. And this was a very short exhibition, also short in terms of the time. We had the opening night on Monday, and we had the exhibition open every day until Friday evening. So we was very successful. We had plenty viewers in the exhibition, more than I was expected, and very much people appreciate my artwork and was very interested to see it and say to me, also, this is something what we not see every day in Trinidad and Tobago. Also, there was a surprise about my paintings. Also, I cannot say that I have a special artwork what I always expose. I change always my subject, and this time in this exhibition my subject was portraits. So, and from there comes also the name of the exhibition. The title was Black Ice, and so after a while I was painting for this exhibition. I had no name, and then I was looking, I have to give the child a name, and then I recognized by myself, my God, all these portraits have black eyes. I call it black eyes. And I had also always the connection to black eyes through a conversation between that what I see and between what is behind, also the spirit. And so when you look in a portrait or in a human face, then you can look deeper. As an artist, he looks deeper. He wants to see the soul, what is the character of the person. And that is the way where the conversations start between the artist and the model or the person what I make a painting from. So, and this was all the story about how I create black eyes at the title. This is a longer story because I have to explain first the type of painting, how that was. Also, I start with the medium, that is oil and paper, but I don't paint it with a brush. I had a different technology. The system, what is that about it? That calls a monography. A monography is basically something. I will explain how to do it. Also, I have a surface, maybe a glass or is a plastic, or the tiles on the ground. They have to be very smooth, a very smooth surface. And I paint on this surface with my oil paint, but not with a brush. I paint with a palette knife. So after I have my painting already done, so in this way where I think, okay, this is finished now, then I use a black paper, and this is also the connection to the black ice, the black paper, and put it over the paint and wipe it with my hand down. So I transfer basically the paint on the glass or on the tile to the paper. And then when I wipe it down, after a while, this is a feeling, this is experience, then I take the paper and take it off. So the whole process is for me as an artist always a challenge, because after I transfer the paint to the paper, everything looks kind of different. It's not absolutely the same what I see before, because from the wipe with the hand, you put the paper in a different condition, and something is always changing. Sometimes it's change and I don't like it, but I have no chance. Either I put it in the dustbin or I say, okay, this goes in the exhibition. After I transfer it, I cannot walk anymore. Then this is a final decision. I take it off, and then I can do nothing anymore, because everything what I do after, you will see it, because you put then the paint in a different condition. This have a bit absolutely individual structure, the surface of the paint on the paper, because when you take it off, the paint is very in a very like a condition like a toothpaste, right? So, and you take the paper off, and this gives you a structure what you get only by a movement like that. Yeah? So it's very, for me, it's just a challenge. This is a part of the system I paint, and so when I develop the technology in the first time, I was making something what I don't like, so I recognize I have to get more experience. There is a lot of things what you have to watch. The condition of the paint is more oil or less oil, or you know, the paper is different, or this paper is better. So I was working almost 2 years to get this system so done that I get my pictures in a way how I want it. Yeah, so the whole entire exhibition was in the exhibition we had exposed 62 painting, no, 60, 67, something like that, and this was editing out from 200 paintings. Yeah, also I could show much more, but the room was not big enough, so I say I put the best painting, or what is my opinion, and the opinion for my wife. She helped me to add the right paintings, and we say, okay, this is in our eyes what we like the most, and this is what we put in the exhibition. So what I'm doing in Trinidad, I can answer this with how I come to Trinidad. It's easier to understand, because I was on my sailing yacht, living on my sailing boat. Wow. And I living on the boat in Mediterranean. And in Mediterranean, of course, is in the summer season a very nice weather, but they have also winter season. I mean, it's not that it's snowing, but the weather is not like that. It's getting cold and so, and then I was thinking, okay, why you don't go in the winter time in the Caribbean? And because it is I have to go out of Mediterranean through Gibraltar, and then I cross the Atlantic and I'm here. So, and then I did it. And then of course in Trinidad is also, I mean, not only in Trinidad, it's in the whole Caribbean, you have hurricane season. And then I recognize, I mean, when I come and cross the Atlantic, I know in the Caribbean is hurricane season, but I was thinking, okay, let me come the hurricane season, then we see what we do. And then I go in the hurricane season to Venezuela, because it's a place that they don't have the hurricane so much than somewhere more in the north. And then I learned to know Trinidad and Tobago. When I come back from Venezuela and go back to the Caribbean islands, Grenada, then I go over Trinidad, and then I learned to know Trinidad. And it was always my aim that I say, okay, I want to be, I mean, I was going to school in Germany and learn art. I was on the Academy of Art. And then I was always with my wish that I say, okay, I want to be an artist on the boat, and I walk on the boat. But this was not really possible, because a boat is always, when you be on anchor, the boat is moving, you have the light one time from this window in the boat and comes from that window. It was complicated. And then I say, okay, I was in St. Lucia, and in St. Lucia I learned to know an owner from a coffee house, and they tell me, okay, we have a restaurant here, we have a coffeeteria, and you can have a space here, there in the corner, take your palette and paint here, people will attract us and will come. And so in this way I was there for 3 years and painting and sell my paintings and had a nice lifetime. So I go 3 times back across the Atlantic to Europe, and 3 times I come back to the Caribbean. Always for the summer season I go Mediterranean, for the winter season in Europe I come back to the Caribbean. Yeah. So, and one time I get invited from a French guy. He was making an international art exhibition in Trinidad and Tobago, and he invite me to come and take a part of the exhibition. And when I was then here in Trinidad, I stay here for a while and learn to know my wife, and so then we settle down in Trinidad, and I sell my boat and I move in a house. My biggest lesson was the experience on the Atlantic, when I crossed the first time the Atlantic. I have to say, I was, before I get on the boat, I was involved in motorcycle racing in Germany. I have a title, I be German champion motorbike racing. So, and of course I was always a racer, and when I was on my sailing boat I want to race as well. So, and by my first trip across the Atlantic, I mean this sind 4,500 kilometers what you have to cross. This takes 20 days. I mean, sometimes you are faster, sometimes slower. This is up what kind of weather you have. So, and you sit on the boat, you're leaning back, and the boat is going per autopilot and with the wind, and you are not so fast. And you recognize how small you are when you see around you only water. And then I was calculating how fast I am, and then I recognize I going here with maximum 6-7 knots. This is the speed, calculating by knots. This is maybe 20 kilometers per hour, even less, let's say 15. Yeah? And then I say, wait a minute. You was racing the fastest bikes in the world, and now you have the biggest distance in front of you. I want to go this 4,500 kilometers, and you use the slowest vehicle what you can have. So this was an experience that was going very deep in my mind, and I say, look at this. When you look at the entire Atlantic through a satellite picture, you even don't see my boat. I be nothing. I be a dust in the wind or something like that. Now, when something happens, nobody will recognize that. Yeah. So, and this is a feeling what you learn, and this is something what I remember as a really deep memory. Yeah. I was always somebody who liked to travel. Yeah. And good, when you're living on a sailing boat, you will travel with your sailing boat and make experience, see other continents. This was my main wish when I left Mediterranean. Okay, go on another part in the world. Yeah, I mean, some people say, okay, I want to go complete around the world. But this was never my wish when I was here. I was like the Caribbean, and I say, so why I have to travel? Or I travel back, and I don't want to go Panama and then the whole Pacific, and so this was not my thing. I was feeling well here in the Caribbean. Also, I catch your word when you say expect, that I'm not expecting something. And this was something what I feel when I come the first time to Venezuela. But this is similar to what I see later, what I saw later in Trinidad. I was never expecting so many. I mean, all houses have burglar proof. This was for me something so strange because we don't have that in Europe. Still today we don't have it. Windows are free. And this view, for me, this was very, why they do that? Why? I mean, why? And today I know why. And it's in Trinidad the same. But if you come to Europe, you don't see things like this. I mean, maybe you don't recognize it so hard than in the opposite way, because growing up with windows, there is no burglar proof, and suddenly I see a house and have all this gitter like in a jail cell, and that was I never was expecting things like that. Yeah. I mean. In Trinidad, nobody see that because it's normal. Everybody have it. Yeah. But if you come from a different country or a different culture as well, and you see this, I mean, maybe there is some characters that don't see it, but for me, this was something. Wow! Look at this. Why? Yeah. Okay. By the end of the interview, I would like to say that all the paintings what I had in the art exhibition in Art Society in Port of Spain, I take them home in my private home and have them hanging. So everybody who would like to see these paintings, just give me a phone call, 719-0827. And call me and make an appointment with me, and you're invited to see my exhibition, to enjoy what was in the exhibition. You can find me on Facebook also under Art for You Studio. Art for You Studio. Yeah. And of course you can make, Instagram is the same. And of course you can call me on the phone number 719-0827.